going to continue in the chapter 14, generators. In this episode, I am going to explain to you the procedure to install a new generator in the boat, the procedure to calculate the capacity of the generator in kilowatts, and the procedure to replace only the engine if it's necessary or only the back end. Before we continue with the installation of the generator, I want that you keep in mind a couple of recommendations. If the generator is a new generator, I recommend checking the box of the new generator if you have the service manual and if you have the operational manual. You need both of those manuals to install the generator. Both of them are okay. Some manufacturers, they use only service manuals and other ones use only the operational manual. Both of them are important in order to install the generator properly. I recommend, if the generator is a used generator, download the generator or try to buy the manual on the web page of the manufacturer. When you have the manual, I recommend read the first chapter of that manual. In the first chapter, you found important information related with a specific recommendation of the manufacturer in order to avoid future problems when you try to apply for claims and if you try to recover the warranty. Though that information is critical, I recommend take a time in order to read the first page of those manuals, service manual or operational manual. This is very important, it's critical. And try to keep the manual always close to you during the process of installation. Verify each recommendation that I gave to you in this video and verify according with the manufacturer of your specific generator if that information is related or is a little different. I am going to give to you the generic recommendations, but in some cases each manufacturer have specific parameters. For that reason, it's necessary that you verify with the manual of your particular generator. And other important recommendation is this. When you finish the installation of the generator, the generator is ready, try to enter in the web page of the manufacturer, and try to register the generator in the web page of the manufacturer. This is very important. Normally, you need the VIN number of the vessel, you need the name of the owner of the boat, and you need the name of the company where you buy the generator. Because normally, you buy the generators on dealers, specific dealers per each manufacturer. You need added that information, and immediately the generator, according with the serial number of the generator, is registered on the web page. This is critical, believe me, I have experience with that. If the generator is not registered during the first 3 months after the installation, you lose the warranty and you have problems in the future. Try to register the generator as soon as you finish the installation, according with the information of the generator, serial number and model of the engine and the generator, and also information about the dealer where you buy the generator, and also information about the owner of the boat, the name of the boat, and the VIN number of the boat. This is very important. If not, in the future, when you try to apply for warranty, that's difficult or in some cases impossible if the generator is not registered. Right now we are going to continue with the procedure to install the generator. We are going to follow the steps one per one, and we are going to try to solve the majority of the questions that you have right now related with the installation of a new generator or old generator. This is the list of the items that I recommend follow when you install a new generator in a boat. We are going to follow those steps. The first step is size the generator in kilowatts. Calculate how much is the capacity of the generator in kilowatts. The second one is select where is the location appropriate inside of the engine room to install the generator. That selection depends on those factors. Depend of where is located the fuel tank, where should be located the batteries? Where should be located the remote panel? On the flybridge or on the pilot helm? Where should be located the muffler? And how many two holes, and where should be located the two holes for raw water and the two holes for exhaust pipe? Number 3 is calculate the gauge of the wires, the gauge of the cables going with the power out from the generator and entering into the AC panel. Number 4 is the procedure to make the holes for the two holes for the raw water and the two holes for the exhaust pipe. Number 5 is mark inside of the engine room where is located the water line. The level of the water line is an important point of reference because depending on the level of the water line, the generator needs anti-siphon or not anti-siphon. And number 6 is prepare the anti-siphon pipes. And number 7 is calculate the distance in between the remote panel and the generator. And number 8, install the properly brackets and supports in order to support the generator properly. The generator produces excessive vibration, and the generator should be installed in proper supports, elastic supports, not rigid supports. Okay, we are going to start with the procedure. The first step is calculate the capacity of the generator in kilowatts. There are millions of formulas to calculate the capacity of the generator in kilowatts. According with my experience, this is the formula that I recommend. The formula is too simple. Normally, when a customer calls to me regarding for a new generator, my first step is visit the boat and check the AC panel. And with the AC panel, I can calculate the power required to supply all the equipment with my new generator. This is the procedure. Suppose that this is the actual AC panel. The AC panel normally have the main breakers, the neutral bus bar, and the ground bus bar. Okay, in this particular case, the capacity of the main breaker in this boat is 80 amps. And this boat is double phase, 240 volts. It's simple. I am going to use the ohm load. If you remember, the ohm load states that the power in watts should be equal to the voltage in volts times the intensity in amps. In other words, in this particular example, the power should be 240 times 80, because this is the capacity of the breaker. 240 times 80 is 19,200. Okay, this is 19.2 kilowatts. I can round it up to 20 kilowatts. This is the capacity of the generator that I need to supply power. In normal conditions, I recommend 22 kilowatts, added a little, 10% for safety. This is the capacity of the generator that I need in my boat. It's simple. Remember, the only that you need is calculate the actual power that you have in the boat. Power is equal to voltage times intensity. Power in watts. With that formula, you calculate the capacity of the generator in kilowatts. Other common question is, my generator is running, however the generator was broken, the engine is broken, and I need only replace the engine. And the $1,000,000 question is, how much should be the capacity of the engine, for example, in this example, in order to repair the generator 20 kilowatts? How much should be the capacity in horsepower of the engine? I want to replace that engine for other engine with the minimum capacity necessary to produce 20 kilowatts. In order to calculate the capacity of the engine, you need to use the magic formula to convert mechanical power into electrical power. The formula is 1 horsepower is equivalent to 746 watts. 1 horsepower is equal to 746 watts. Okay, if I have 20,000 watts, how many horsepower are? It's simple. The horsepower is basically 20,000 divided by 746. This is 26.8 horsepower. In this particular example, for that generator, you need minimum 27 horsepower. I need to replace the engine for other engine of 27 horsepower. Oh, I have an engine of 20 horsepower. Is good for that generator? No, no, you need minimum 27 horsepower. Oh, I have an engine of 30 horsepower. Oh, 30 is perfect. It's a little higher. Is perfect. Okay, this is the procedure to calculate the capacity of the generator in kilowatts and the procedure to convert electrical power into mechanical power. We are going to continue with the next step. The second step is where should be located the generator inside of the engine room. In order to select where should be located the engine inside of the engine room, you need to take in consideration where is located the fuel tank and what tank I am going to use. I am going to use the starboard tank or the port tank. The recommendation is use the fuel tank as close as possible to the generator. Avoid long distance. Remember that you need to install the income line and the return line. Remember that the return line normally is a little bigger in comparison with the supply line. The supply line is smaller in comparison with the return. Remember that in normal conditions in any diesel engine, 80% of the fuel that is entering into the engine, 80% of that fuel return to the tank, and only 20% of the fuel is used to produce power. Okay, the selection of the fuel tank is important because depend of the distance in between the engine and the fuel tank. The second one is the battery. I recommend use a separate group of batteries for the new generator. Some people say, can I use the batteries of the bow thruster? Can I use the batteries of the engines? No, the recommendation is install a separate battery with enough capacity. Remember, the calculation of the battery depends on the capacity of the start motor. Where you found that information? In the catalog of the generator. The catalog of the generator recommend the battery necessary for that engine. The battery should be selected according with the CCA, called cranking amps. The CCA are according with the start motor of the engine. Okay, select the battery and install a separate battery exclusive for the generator, and install a battery switch selector exclusive for the generator. If you have two generators, I recommend one switch selector with two positions and parallel in the middle. This is a simple installation. I explained that procedure in my chapter 4 of this book, episode number 2. All right, number 3 is the remote panel. Where should be located the remote panel? Because normally you have the start-stop button here at the generator, but you need a remote panel on the fly bridge or on the pilot helm. You need to calculate the distance. You need to verify where I am going to pass the wires, and you need to verify if you have a space to pass the wires, or if you need make holes or make some modifications in the boat. Be 100% sure that you have all the distance calculated before you order the harness for the remote panel. Normally the remote panels are coming in 15 feet, 25 feet, or 50 feet, depending on the boat. The muffler. The muffler is an important element because depending of the position of the muffler, the generator is considered properly installed or not. Be careful with the installation of the muffler. The muffler should be located below the level of the generator, minimum 2 inches. This is an important recommendation. I have a lot of experience with generators improperly installed, and after the installation of the generator have problems, and the insurance company, the first step is verify where is located the muffler. The muffler is not located below the bottom of the generator, no warranty, no claim. Be careful with the installation of the muffler. The muffler should be located below the level of the generator, minimum 2 inches. And also be careful with the output line of the generator. The output pipe, the output pipe from the muffler in some cases have anti-siphon. And the output at the end of the output hose should be located 12 inches over the water line. Minimum 12 inches over the water line, ABYC recommendation. The output line from the muffler have anti-siphon, and finally the output should be located 12 inches over the water line. Other important recommendation. And the through holes. The through hole should be located in a properly position in order to avoid interference with other through holes for air conditioning equipment, or through hole for main engines, or through holes for water makers. Be 100% sure that the position of the through hole is the appropriate position. Normally, I recommend use. This is my recommendation. I have a couple of all speakers with big magnets, you remember, and I use both speakers. I put one speaker in the position where I want to make a hole for the through hole, and after that I go outside of the boat with a piece of iron, and I locate with the magnet. Oh, the iron is here. It's because the speaker inside is located here. I let the iron over there, and I ask to other contractors in the marina about the position for the through hole, because probably I need other opinion of other people from other companies. When I am 100% sure that this is the properly position for the through hole, I drill a pilot drill from inside to outside, and I ask again to the captain of the boat and the owner of the boat if this position for the through hole is appropriate. Be careful before you make the hole. Ask to the customer, ask to the captain, make a video and send to them a video where I am going to do the hole for the through hole. Remember, when you do the hole, finito, that's the hole. Yeah, it's possible repair, but I don't recommend. Before you do the hole, make a video, ask to other contractors. If you are 100% sure, make a hole. This is my recommendation with respect to the through holes. Okay, the next one is make the holes for the raw water and for the exhaust. After that is marked inside of the engine room where should be located the water line. The water line is critical. Why? Because if my new generator will be installed below the water line, probably I need an anti-siphon. Or if my new generator is located over the water line, probably I don't need anti-siphon. What is the mark that you use for reference when you try to take the decision if the generator needs anti-siphon or not? Normally, the secret is this: check the exhaust manifold and verify where. This is the exhaust manifold. This is the heat exchanger. Look, that's the through hole. The water, the salt water enter, pass through the heat exchanger. The salt water enter into the exhaust pipe. In this point, the exhaust gases are mixed with the salt water. This is the point where the gases and the salt water are mixed together. For that reason, this line is the critical point. If this line is below the water line, I need anti-siphon. If this line is over the water line 12 inches, I don't need anti-siphon. If the distance is less than 12 inches, probably you need anti-siphon. Where should be located the anti-siphon? The anti-siphon should be located here. I remove this, I twisted that one like this, and now I pass a hose from this point, goes up into the anti-siphon and return. That's clear? I move it this output like this, I switch like this, and now I pass a hose with the anti-siphon on top in order to avoid ingress of salt water. This is the critical point. It's the point on the exhaust pipe where the salt water is mixed with the gases. Why that point is critical? Because here in the back if you check in the back, let me show other heat exchanger in the back. Look here in the back, you have the exhaust manifold. This is the exhaust manifold. It's because here I have the head of the engine, and I have the exhaust valve here, and exhaust valve here. What happens if the exhaust valves are improperly calibrated? What happens if one of the exhaust valves stay open during the intake? You remember what happened during the intake stroke? During the intake stroke, only the intake valve open, and the exhaust valve should be closed. When the piston is going down, the air enters. What happens if the exhaust valve is a little open because it's improperly calibrated? When the piston is going down, suction water because you have salt water here and gases over there. For that reason, the majority of the diesel generators, they need to calibrate the exhaust valve each 250 hours. We are going to talk later in our class of diesel, and I am going to explain in details that procedure. For today, the only important point is where is located that point. Where is located the point where the salt water is mixed with the exhaust gases. One important thing before we finish this video is, I mentioned during the video, the level of the water line inside of the boat. How important is now where is located the level of the water line in order to install the generator properly. Why is important the water line? It's important because, for example, for the raw water pump of the generator, the pump that suctions the raw water pump, in my opinion, my recommendation is try to install the generator or the engine, it's exactly the same, with the raw water pump below the level of the water line. No, because in the catalog of that engine, they say that that raw water pump is self-priming. Probably in the catalog, they say that the raw water pump is self-priming. For safety, I recommend, I have a lot of experience with that, install the engine, install the generator below the water line. What is the meaning of that? When the engine is located below the water line, you are 100% sure that this raw water pump have water all the time. And the impeller, internally, the impeller will be protected. Remember, the enemy of the impellers in the raw water pump is the air. When the engine starts and the raw water pump doesn't have water here, the water suction air. Immediately the air, when the impeller is spinning, the air expands and burns the impeller, and the impeller is burned. This is a critical situation. When the impeller is burned, it's like the picture that you have in the corner right now on your screen. The blades are gone. Be careful with that. This element, the raw water pump, should be located below the water line. And also the sea strainer, the raw water strainer. The raw water strainer and the raw water pump, they should be located below the water line. How can I know where is located the level of the water line inside of the boat? I use a simple tip. If you have a through hole, any through hole in the boat, you can install a clear hose, transparent hose like this, long, and you open the valve and you check where is located the water, and this is the point where the water line is located. After that, you mark. This is the level of the water line, and this is the reference. This is the reference that you can use to install the generator. What happens if, for some reasons, you only have a space in that corner to install the generator? And of course, that corner is over the water line. In other words, the raw water pump will be located over the water line. I recommend install in series before the water coming from the sea strainer enter in the raw water pump. Install here a raw water pump, electric raw water pump, 12 volts or 24 volts, and connect that raw water pump to the preheat or ignition switch. When you start the generator, the raw water pump, electrical raw water pump is running, suction the water, bring the water to the mechanical raw water pump, and the generator is running with water all the time. If the raw water pump is located over the water line, it's mandatory to install the electrical raw water pump in between the strainer and the raw water in order to bring the water until the mechanical raw water pump. This is critical, and this is the procedure. Clear hose in order to find it where is located the level of the water line, and after that you mark on the wall the level of the water line. That's very, very important. Don't forget, raw water pump and a strainer, located below the water line, mandatory. And if the raw water pump, because the only possibility is only over the water line, you need to install a raw water pump in series in between the strainer and the raw water pump in order to lift the pump and bring the water until the raw water pump when the generator starts. Very, very important. Other important element that you need to keep in consideration is the installation of the fuel water separator. The fuel water separator or primary filter or water separator filter should be located before the fuel is coming from the fuel tank and the fuel continue into the secondary filter, and after the secondary filter the fuel enter in the fuel injection pump. That fuel filter is located outside of the generator, and that fuel water separator is rated in gallons per hour, and you verify the manual, the service manual, and in the service manual you have the recommendation related with the water separator filter or primary filter. Recommended for the manufacturer in the manual in gallons per hour. This one in particular is excellent. This is Raycor. I love it. It's easy, the service. You can check the videos related with the service of Raycor Parker filters or water separator filters in one of the episodes on the diesel book and also on the gasoline book. I have a couple of videos where I explain in details the procedure to do the service in these filters, the procedure to replace the gasket, the O-rings, the bulb, and clean the filters completely. It's 2 or 3 episodes related exclusive for that filter. And you found it in those videos for diesel and gasoline, a lot of episodes related with service on the raw water pump. Check those episodes. I explained the procedure to replace the impeller, the procedure to diagnose if the raw water pump is damaged, and the procedure to replace the raw water pump in different situations. Okay, other important thing that I am going to explain right now is related with the exhaust gases and the exhaust water. Okay, other thing that we are going to take in consideration is the use of water separator on the exhaust system. Some manufacturers, they recommend in the installation use water separators. What is the advantage of the water separator? The advantage is that for service is excellent because you have in the exhaust pipe, you have a pure smoke, clear smoke, and water in separate holes. And you can verify easily the color of the smoke for diagnosis, for troubleshoot. Remember what happened if the color of the smoke is white? You have intrusion of a coolant into the combustion chamber and you have white smoke. What happens if you have black smoke? It's a rich mixture. What happens if you have blue smoke? It's oil consumption, right? If you have the smoke separated from the water, it's easy verify if the generator, the engine is running in good conditions. How can you do that? If you have a muffler like this is the muffler, this is the exhaust, this is the exhaust coming out, the exhaust enter here, in the exhaust is mixed water with gases. Let me refresh quickly the procedure. This is the heat exchanger on top. In the bottom, you have the exhaust manifold. In the corner of this video, you have this manifold on the back. On the back, in the bottom of this, the exhaust and the exhaust gases enter. Here you have exhaust gases, and here you have raw water. Raw water in order to refrigerate the coolant. The coolant is here in a separate pipes, and the raw water pass over there, and the coolant is refrigerated. Okay, raw water enter here, goes over there, raw water, the raw water goes into the elbow of the exhaust. In this point, the gases, the smoke is mixed with the raw water. In other words, here into the muffler enter gases with raw water, and after the manifold is going out, gases with raw water. Okay, if I have the exhaust manifold here, gases with raw water, the gases with raw water enter into the water separator. The water separator internally have 3 compartments separated internally. One compartment here, the second compartment, and the third one. In each compartment you have an input of with a pipe. Okay, I connect the hose, the output of the muffler, with a hose here. In this, the first compartment, I have water with a smoke. On top is separated. This is connected this with this. Okay, when the smoke with the water pass in front of the second compartment, for gravity, the water goes down and only pass through the third container, the third separation, only pass the gases. And the gases continue over there, and the gases goes out. This is the water separator. In the input, you have water with a smoke. In the middle one, pure water. In the third one, gases. If I have the water separator, what is the input and what is the output? You can put this one like input, and of course, the middle one is the output of water, and the second one, the third one, is the output of gases. Or I can enter here, this one will be water, and this one will be smoke. You can use this or this for input, doesn't matter. This is the water separator. It's very important. Some manufacturers, they recommend install the water separator. Some boat builders, they design the boat with water separator. It's a good practice. I recommend water separators. Don't forget, important, the level, the reference of the water line. Before you start with the installation of the generator, you need mark on the engine room where is located the level of the water line. The second point is identify where should be located the generator. Okay, the new generator should be located in that corner. Okay, let me check in that corner where is located the fuel tank pretty close to, okay, that one. I am going to use the starboard tank. And I am going to return into the starboard tank. Okay, let me verify where I am going to locate the batteries. Remember, the batteries should be located as close as possible to the generator. And remember, in between the batteries and the generator, the switch selector, the red one. Okay, the batteries, the switch selectors, the generator, the fuel. Remember, you need to pass 2 lines. One for suction and other one for return. The return line should be bigger than the supply. Why? Because the return normally return with high temperature. 100% of the fuel entering into the engine, 20% is used for the combustion, and the rest, after the fuel injection pump, after the compression on the fuel injection pump, 80% return into the tank. What happens when the fuel is compressed in the fuel injection pump? The temperature goes up. The return fuel is returning with high temperature. What happened with the temperature? With the temperature of the fuel in the fuel tank after 2 hours of operation of engines and generators together, that fuel is too hot. For that reason, normally in diesel engines, big diesel engines and medium engines, when the fuel is coming into the engine before the fuel pass for one fuel heat exchanger. It's a fuel cooler. is a heat exchanger with raw water in order to reduce the temperature of the fuel before the fuel enters into the fuel injection pump. That's critical. If the temperature of the fuel is too hot when the fuel enters in the fuel injection pump, inside of the fuel injection pump, the temperature of the fuel increases a lot, and when the fuel enters in the combustion chamber, enter like vapor, and that's not good, produce vapor lock. We are going to study that situation in our book of diesel engines. All right. Important, the level of the reference of the level of the water line. Important, the location of the fuel tank. Important, the location of the batteries. Important, where should be located the muffler. Remember, the muffler should be located below the level of the generator, minimum 2 inches, very important. The water separator, if is necessary. And don't forget the anti-siphons. If my generator will be located below the water line, I need 2 anti-siphons. Let me refresh that situation. One anti-siphon in the output. This is the heat exchanger for coolant. Okay, this is salt water. The salt water goes out and returns into the elbow. If this division in between the heat exchanger and the elbow, if the elbow is located below the water line, if this elbow is located in the limit or below, you need to install the anti-siphon. The anti-siphon at the end have this element. This is the anti-siphon or vented loop. Should be located here. And after that, the hose returns. Okay, what is the separation in between the level of the water line and the vented loop? The separation should be minimum 12 inches. I recommend the maximum that you can. It's better. What is the idea? If you check here the vented loop, when the water is going up, the air over there is drained here with a check valve, and the water continue. I am going to explain later in our book of auxiliary system this equipment in details, the vented loop, and the difference between vented loop, anti-siphon, and P-trap. Okay, all right, this is the situation. You need one anti-siphon located here if the generator is located below the water line. You need another one. The raw water pump should be located below the water line. And after that, after the raw water pump, the raw water enters here into the heat exchanger, pass through the heat exchanger, and goes out. Okay, here in between this and this is recommended other anti-siphon if the engine is located below the water line. One anti-siphon here in between this point, and other anti-siphon here in between the output and the elbow of the exhaust. One here, other here in between the raw water and the input of the heat exchanger, and other over there. 2 anti-siphons if the generator is located below the water line. The life of the generator depends on those anti-siphons. If those anti-siphons are not installed or improperly installed, immediately you start the generator a couple of hours after the generator suction water and the generator is destroyed. Remember, if a small amount of salt water enters in the combustion chamber, immediately the piston is in aluminum and the sleeve, the cylinder, is in steel. The thermal expansion of the aluminum is twice in comparison with the steel. When the salt water enters in the combustion chamber, the aluminum expands twice and the engine is locked. Okay, this is vapor lock. This is only with salt water. What happens if a small amount of coolant enters in the combustion chamber? No problem. The engine, the motor, continue running and produce white smoke. Remember, the coolant is a mixture in between water and glycol and other additives. Water, glycol, and other additives for lubricity. For that reason, if coolant enters in the combustion chamber, that coolant during the explosion is steam, is vapor, and goes out like vapor, white color, and you have white smoke. But if in the combustion chamber enters salt water, immediately the piston expands. That's the main difference. I am going to explain later in other episodes in the diesel book that situation. Okay, those are the important recommendations. Don't forget the remote panel. Check the distance in between the remote panel and the control panel here. The remote panel, the harness, you need to order the harness according with that distance. And other important thing is, remember, if you feed the remote panel, the power, the positive DC for the remote panel is coming for other group of batteries different like the group of batteries for the engine, for the generator here. Those group of batteries, both of them, should be connected together, the negatives. If not, the signal from the panel to start the generator never pass here if the negatives are not connected together. You remember that recommendation in chapter 3, 4, and 5 of the electrical book? All right, this is very, very important. The negative of the battery should be connected together. The negative of the group of batteries where the remote panel is located, and the negative of this group of batteries dedicated for the start motor of this generator. In the next episode, I am going to do the troubleshoot. The troubleshoot, high frequency, low frequency, high voltage, low voltage, no voltage. We are going to solve all of these problems in the next episode. And in the last episode, we are going to do the wiring complete. The harness of the engine, the harness of the control box, the harness of the gauge, fuel gauge, temperature gauge, oil pressure, RPMs, tachometer, and the harness for the AC output. We are going to do that wiring. This is the last episode of this series of episodes related with generators. I hope you enjoy. Follow my videos in Facebook, in mrlopezclasses.com. Thank you very much.